night. Come along and rise and shine. Come on and shine. Come along and ride on a light walker Johnny. Light walker Johnny. Yeah. Come along and ride on a light walker Johnny. Yay.
Good evening, and welcome to this episode of the Sunday Soul Podcast. My name is Dr. Lisa Brewer, and I am your host for the evening. We are going to be talking about something that's, I don't know if I would say it's controversial. Yeah, it's controversial. But something that I've been having some discussions with a new friend of mine, and they were expressing to me their potential belief, that there are certain, that some people in this world are beginning to go by potentially a Julian calendar, and rather than the Gregorian calendar. Now, I'm sure that some of you all have seen this, where, there's been this discussion again, especially as we exited 2020, about the various calendars, right? If we see certain things happen astronomically, which then translate to astrologically. And so we're noticing different things happen in the skies and then on the earth plane, as they are influenced by, I'm not saying guided by, and I'm not saying controlled by, I'm saying influenced by those things that happen in the skies. I mean, there are signs and wonders, right? I don't care which religion you believe in. Typically, at some point, there's a discussion, a slight, hey guys, you might want to look up to tell the time and the seasons. Anyway, it's another rant for another day. But there's been this discussion of what year are we really in? What is really today's date? What year are we really in? And I've been watching it over the last probably 7-8 months. It seems to ratchet it up, where hey, maybe we should go back to the Julian calendar because it's more accurate. And then even in the astrological discussions, I've seen where it is like, I've been noticing that sidereal, or I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, so I apologize for everyone who is, or Vedic astrology. I'm looking at the accuracy. And saying, I wonder, because, if you guys don't know, Western or tropical astrology is based off of this precession of the equinoxes. And so because it's not based on fixed stars in the sky, which Vedic is, and because of how time differs, so the equinoxes are in different points every year because the earth wobbles and there's polarity changes and there's, solar flare, plasma impulse, things happen. And the universe, and therefore our galaxy, is naturally expanding. So orbits change and things change a little bit every year. So if there's a difference, and I'm going to actually show that to you for those that are looking at the video, and I will talk it through on the audio, there is a difference between tropical and Vedic. There's a difference between the Gregorian and the Julian calendar, and then the Mayan calendar and the Ethiopian calendar and all these different calendars, which begs to differ. What if we're going by the wrong dates? What if our dates are wrong? And so you might say, Lisa, why? Whoa, don't be meddling with that. Don't be messing with that. You're blowing my mind. I need to. I want mind blown. Why do I want that to happen? Because the sooner we can recognize that all of this time nonsense is a structure, is a construct created so that we would be able to make sense of our third dimensional being, but also created and then changed by various groups of people for various reasons. But the ultimate result is for those of us who are spiritual awakened. I'm just not entrenched in religious dogma, right? But you are in tune with your higher self and with creator that created you, supreme prime source. It's thrown us for a loop. It's gotten us off, as they would say, our square. We are twisted in the wind, twisting because we don't actually know what day it is, really. So, really, my proposal to you is by the end of this discussion, and we won't be long today, but by the end of this discussion, I'm going to encourage you to discard as much as you can the construct of time. You don't really know what day it is. You really don't. You've been told, depending upon what day you're listening to this, I'm recording this on December the 12th, 2020, in the year of our Lord 2021. That's according to the Gregorian calendar. If I want to talk about what day it potentially is in the Julian calendar is 13 days different than the Gregorian calendar. Some would say 13 days behind. It's just 13 days different. So 13 days ago would have been November 29th to the 30th, somewhere in there. That's a completely different day. That's a completely different energy. And you have an even greater differential in energy that is showing up on the earth. And I'm talking astrologically now. So I don't want anybody to just tune out right now because, she's going to talk about that astrology. I'm going to need you. This is more than just your horoscope that you find in your daily paper, or you go on to Google and you see it pop up on your Google feed or wherever, Cafe Astrology or astrology.com or whatever. This is not that. What I'm saying, what it is that, but what I'm saying on a global scale, I can go by dates, historical dates, and show you where things have happened on these dates at the time when specific transits or planets were in specific spots within specific constellations and in relationship or aspect to other planets and or fixed stars. Why am I even talking about that? There's certain things in time and space that are fixed. The stars in the sky being one of them. They haven't moved. The constellations are where they were from the beginning of creation of the Milky Way and the creation of our solar system. That hasn't moved. They were put there so that we could tell time, so that we could have some direction, so that we could be able to chart things and understand at what point in the energetic cycle did we find ourselves. Not so that we could say you got to punch in for a 40-hour week, 52 days a year, or 50 if you're lucky, because you get 2 weeks paid vacation. Not so that someone could say and arbitrarily on this date, guess what? This is the day we're having our elections. This is the day we're doing this. This is the day we're doing that. This is the day that your credit card bill is due. This is the day that your mortgage is due. This is the day. This is the day. Right? And put this construct of time and then put this program of, guess what? On July the 16th, 1968, Lisa was born, which means she is now 53 years old. And that number then corresponds to some program that's been implanted in my third dimensional brain, telling me and telling my body, you're 53 years old. Therefore, there are some things that should be happening to your body at this moment in time. You should feel this way. You should react this way. Your body should be doing this, not doing that. Assigning an age and then a status to my being. But what if I never knew that I was 53? What if I just knew that the season for me bearing children was over and that was okay? Do you ever find yourself saying, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel, but I don't feel that age? That's why we hear people say all the time saying 50 is the new 40, 40 is the new 30. Why? Because we don't need to be part of these constructs anymore of time. Now this goes a little bit deeper than that, but I need to bring it back down to this level of reality, to something that you can grab a hold of, because it goes deeper than that. Let's take a look at a couple things here. I'm going to do this one. And I'm actually what I'm doing right now is I'm bringing up a chart, an astrological chart for today, 12/12. And I'm actually going to go on and show that in March. So this is the tropical chart for today, 12/12. There's some things you're going to notice here, and if you've been watching my YouTube channel, you'll have seen that Heart of Inspiration that's where you could find me on YouTube, and there'll be a link to that. Excuse me, on my website in the description below. But according to tropical astrology, today, the 12th, Mars is in the last bit of Scorpio. I'm going to go very high. Basically, what I'm seeing here is we would have the propensity or the possibility for having big battles or rumors of that. In other words, countries coming against one another, new allies being formed with specific countries, secrets being unveiled over the course of the next, like this is the beginning, I would say, or like a catalyst, something very something that's not very nice about some people popping up. What I would also say is that people are fighting for their autonomy in some areas of the world or in the world in general, and that more people are waking up to there has been this attempt to really destroy the will of and the individuality of humanity. And then it all under the guise of this is in your best interest, but then really what's happening is it's just kind of more control, and you're going down that continual rabbit hole of fear, control, and never really figuring your way out. However, human spirit on the whole is saying, hey, wait a minute, I think there's something wrong here, right? They're just like waking up to the fact that there may be something wrong. Danger, danger, Will Robinson. I also see persecution. I also see all these things happening. And I would say, over the next day or two that, we'll probably see some major breakthroughs in revelation of secrets or revelation of heretofore not known information. I would have actually, if I'm looking at the tropical and looking at the transits, have expected that that would be the case. That this is what would be happening right now. Now, it's completely possible that the timeline that I'm living in, because I really do I don't want to say depend on, but I'm really like into astrology and the transits and what they call mundane astrology, which is like the global impact. So this really floats my boat. I'm a student of astrology, and I'm a student specifically of tropical astrology. So my perspective, according to my date reference, is going to give me this rendition of today and the future. Okay. This is the timeline I'm living in. However, today's date in sidereal that chart looks a little different. Now, very briefly, for those of you that are watching, in the previous chart, both the Sun and Mercury were in Sagittarius. The Pluto and Venus were conjunct in the last decade, last 10 degrees or so of Capricorn. Saturn and Jupiter are in Capricorn. Neptune is in Pisces. The Moon and Chiron are in Aries. The Uranus is in retrograde in Aries. Mars is about to leave Scorpio, and the north south node axis in sidereal is Taurus. Currently is Taurus north, Scorpio south, as opposed to Gemini north, Sagittarius south in tropical. That's going to be very important in just a minute. If I look at this chart right here with both Mars in the early degrees of Scorpio and the Sun in the late degrees of Scorpio, I would definitely say, oh, we about to have some problems. And the South Node and Mars are conjunct, about to become one on top of the other. We're about to, danger, Will Robinson, we're having some issues. Because when this sort of thing has happened before, every 18 or so years, wars broken out, or there's been terrorist attacks. When this conjunction has happened. Now, could I make the same statement? The conjunction of the true South Node is going to happen anyway, right? In tropical, we're in the same position. It's just different signs, different constellations, different energies. But this, I would say, would be more accurate. This would be representative of a little more than 13 days, probably about 20 days difference. So if I'm going by this, I'm living in a kind of an alternative time structure. If I look at this right here, holy cats, Saturn and Pluto still in Capricorn together, Venus there, which means the great conjunction didn't necessarily happen in the same way, in the same sign, without the same results. So really now we're about to have a conjunction of personal transformation of government along with Saturn and Capricorn, old school graduate, right? Like I'm looking at this going, crap, we got another year, maybe a little bit more before that, like autonomy, like really now is when it's boiling over. Jupiter just entering into Aquarius, Neptune still being in Aquarius. According to this, that's all that information is just now happening. That's a whole different perspective than, well, we've gone through some things and things should have popped off a while back. I don't understand why things didn't pop off. I think we've been paying attention to the wrong calendar. I think we may have our dates wrong. What if we had our dates wrong? What if? And then all of these things that some of us have been wondering, well, when are we actually going to have people exposed for the debauchery and the disgusting things that they do? When are we going to have the authoritarians and the dictators that are pretending to love and care for us, not love, care for us and have our best interests at heart? When are we going to have those people shown to be the fakes that they are? When are people going to really see that it's not about a structured religious belief, but so much, it truly is about relationship, and you can have that relationship with your creator outside of this structure and still maintain beliefs? That's fine, but come into a true love of my fellow man and woman. When are we going to attain high dimensional, fifth dimensional life and reality? When are all these prophecies and whatnot going to come true? Because if I'm looking at the dates as we've kept them thus far, I don't see it happening. I don't see it being true, right? I don't see it. I don't see it becoming real. Because if I'm looking at this and the time and the this and the date, that person and that person says, and this person says, and this is what's out here, then I'm like, well, why hasn't it already happened? What if we have our dates wrong? What if part of the simulation and part of the ruse, what if part of the illusion has been the wrong day, time, year? What if we really are in a whole different time? Or what if we decide that we want to change it? We don't want to live in this time, that we want to change the time and the day and the date, change the matrix, change the simulation, and live in a different one. What would that look like? And can we do it? And is it already actually here? We just don't realize it. Let us take one other look. I want to show you something else. Now, remember I told you that's the side reel. That's for December 12th. So I turned back the hands of time. If I could turn back time. Okay. To 11/29/21, which is roughly 13 days prior, 14 days. So I'm in the right ballpark. And I ran that tropical chart at that point of 11/29/21. And if today is that day, let's just say today is 11/29/2021 or 11/30, it'd be still very, very close to what I've got going on here. Let me tell you what would be occurring right now. Mars wouldn't be just getting ready to exit Scorpio. It would still be hanging out doing like pretty hardcore stuff. The Sun and Mercury would be conjunct. It would in Sagittarius, it'd be in agreement in Saturn. Basically, what I'm saying is we'd be hearing from people what is going on in their neck of the woods. I find that interesting because I've come across some, what I would say, independent journalistic broadcasts from all over the world about uprisings, about people fighting back, about people not laying down and taking it anymore, about people saying, I just want to live my life without having the threat of somebody coming and picking me up out from within my home, without the threat of not being able to make a living, without the threat of death, without the threat of rioting by other people that don't have a dog in the fight, so to speak. I want to live an autonomous life. I want to be able to be free. That's it. That's all. And what I see here is just that. And people saying, listen, this is what's going on. They're stopping us from doing this. Listen, this is what's going on. We're being herded up and put into centers. Listen, this is what's going on. I flew back home to my country and was kept without food for 40 hours. This is what's going on. Not allowed to go to my child's school because I told them I didn't agree with what was being taught. This is what's going on. So I'm seeing this happen at a much greater rate if I look at 11/29/2021. I'm also seeing, because of the Mars aspect, go back and look at the chart. Mars aspecting, trining, dead on exact trine to Neptune in Pisces in retrograde. What I'm seeing there is people are making like weird chess moves and they're rather delusional, like major players, like major, right? Like heads of government, the posturing and the, you can't move your troops there and you can't park your sub here and you can't do that. And of course, everything is fine and dandy. And no, there's no issues going on. Oh my gosh. Media, can you not tell the truth? You haven't been telling the truth in a long time, but can you not tell the truth now? I'm looking at what's happening in the world right now, and I'm seeing There may be something to this. Are we honestly living in the Julian calendar, which would make more sense anyway, rather than the Gregorian calendar? Because everybody, they've stolen at least 10 days, if not more, from us. Now we're up to 13, darn near 14. There's a 10-day gap. They have us living over here somewhere 13 days in the future. What if our dates are wrong? What if our dates are wrong? I know that's blowing some people's mind. I get it. Really, I do. And I'm not saying for sure that our dates are wrong. What I am saying is if you have the ability to travel through time, and because of that ability, you have the ability, or you understand you have the ability to manipulate time. And you're in a position to say, I want to go grab that energy from 13 days ago, and I want to utilize that energy for the greater good of humanity, or for myself, for my highest good. What if you could do that? What if you could travel, time travel? What if you could bend time? And why can't you? I do think anything is possible. Honestly, if you just kind of went by Vedic astrology and that's what you knew, you'd basically be living in the Julian calendar anyway. Those energies match up much clearer. It's much more aligned than the tropical. Now, I can align the tropical, or what we think is going on right now. I can align that. In my timeline, I can tell you what we're seeing and how we should interact with it. But there's this underlying nagging thought that I'm not even interacting in the right timeline, that I don't have my attention and intention set by the right clock. And if that's the case, then I think that certain powers that be should probably watch out, because we're on to you. We can go back in time as well. Anyway, thank you so much. Hopefully I gave you something to think about. Hopefully I gave you something to ponder. I mean, let me know if you want to join me back a few, I don't know, clicks. Keep an eye on it. Thanks so much. Please, if you're watching me on YouTube or listening to me on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any other podcast platform that we are streaming on, or if you're catching this on Facebook or catching this on Instagram, wherever you're catching this, please, thank you for following and sharing and liking and subscribing. All of my contact information is down below, and as well as some information. If you go to the Linktree link that is in the description box below, you're going to find a way to book a call with myself or one of my team members. If you want to kind of get into all of this mysterious, wonderful life of metaphysics and spirituality, and you wish to actively be a light worker, I'm going to ask you, if you're ready to invest in yourself before the end of the year, definitely check in with us. Book a free 15-minute call. We'd be happy to consult with you. Next year, everything's changing. We're restructuring everything. So if you want to get into the Practical Light Worker 12-week program to teach you how to monetize and how to live an abundant life in purpose with your gifts, book that call down below. And also, I didn't say this at the beginning, but everything stated in this broadcast is my opinion and it is interpretation. All right, gang. I will talk to you guys very, very soon. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I love you so much. Namaste. Bye-bye.